Now, obviously, you understand that life is very unpredictable and sometimes scary because of the unknown, right? We don't have any guidance. We don't know what's going to happen. What if this? What if that? What if this? All the time is followed by a negative. Now, this negative mindset that a lot of you guys walk around with, what if I get laughed at? What if I get rejected? What if I die? What if my arm falls off? What if I break my leg? What if this happens? What if this happens? Always followed by a negative. That negativity is conditioned into you through the media, through the news, through social media, through your parents, through a lot of external things that you had no control over when you were a child. And when you were a child, your subconscious mind is open, let's say. It's not really the scientific term to it, but it's open to information. You're taking in everything, you're learning, you're being conditioned. And if you're being conditioned negatively, then naturally you're going to find that you overthink. You're very anxious in your current state at like 16 to 18 years old, however old you are, okay? You're going to find that, oh, I overthink quite a lot and I'm quite anxious. Why is that? It's because when you were a child, you were conditioned through negativity. Your parents always told you, be careful, don't do that, this could happen. You watch the news and it's just full of negativity. I don't even watch the fucking news because all that it does is it's scare tactics. It puts that fear into you. Now, I want to tell you about something that's going to give you a lot of hope today. This is going to literally change your life. It's going to change the way you view the world. The reason why I have such a positive mindset and such a positive outlook on life, even though it's filled with such threats and hostiles and potential dangers and unknowns, is because of this mindset. I keep things very, very simplistic first and foremost, okay? So, for example, the first mindset that I do is rather than thinking to myself, obviously, first of all, before that, step zero, you've got to cut out all the negativity. So stay away from negative people, okay? Stay away from the news, stay away from social media, don't do any of that bullshit. Stay away from anything that negatively impacts your mind, that makes you feel negative emotions. Stay away from it. That's number one. You've got to decondition yourself from all that bullshit, okay? Secondly, is the what if scenario. So a lot of you guys overthink because you're thinking the worst case scenario. What if I go and talk to that girl and I get rejected and I get laughed at and the whole gym thinks I'm an awkward nerd and I can never come back ever again? That's what a lot of you guys think. So instead of thinking what if followed by a negative, flip that into a positive. What if, and then replace it with the best case scenario. What if I go over there and I get the girl's number and I speak really smoothly and fluently and everything just works the way I want it to, it all flows, and we actually have a really good conversation. I actually really fucking enjoy it. And I get the girl's number and then we go and meet up for several days and she becomes my girlfriend and she's my soulmate. What if that happens instead? Okay? Change it and just flip it. That was just such a random example, but change it and flip it into a positive instead. Because then naturally you're going to be excited for the situation rather than fearful and anxious. You're changing fear into excitement because of your imagination. Now, your nervous system, again, I've told this so many times, your nervous system, your body, your physiological body cannot tell the difference between imagination and reality. So if you just imagine the best case scenario, your body will respond with excitement, with positive emotion rather than negative. So that's number one. The first tip I want you to implement into your life is just this understanding of, okay, I can flip my mindset and actually have an effect on the way I feel and the way I see the world. Consciously, I can control myself to do that. So keep that in mind. Every time you find yourself thinking about something that hasn't happened yet, and it's always followed by a negative, oh, I might die, or what if I have cancer, or what if I get this? Stop with this bullshit. What if you don't? What if everything works out fine? What if everything's great? What if it all works out in the best case scenario? Flip it like that into a positive. Number two is you must understand you have something as a human being. It's a survival mechanism called hedonic adaptation, which means your mind and body can literally adapt to anything. Cold showers, pain, pleasure, it can adapt to anything. Okay, which is when you find that, oh, I've been taking cold showers for a week and it was the most horrendous thing in the world, but now I'm used to it. And now I get in there and it's just, I'm singing along and it's nothing. Your mind and body adapts to it because it understands that if we go through this so consistently and we're exposed to this stimulus for such a long time, we're going to adapt to it because you only have two options in life as a human being. You either adapt to something or you die. That's it. They're your only two options. And let's say the worst case scenario happens and you die. We'll use the cold shower as an example. It's a bit extreme. You're not going to die from a cold shower, but let's just say, hypothetically, there's two options. And this goes for anything. You can replace the cold shower and use that analogy for any area of life that you are scared or anxious or overthinking about. Okay? You literally adapt to anything. Your body can adapt to anything. Your mind can adapt to anything. You find, even pleasure. You find when you're having sex for so long, you'll just adapt to it. It won't feel as good as the first time. The more you expose yourself to a certain stimulus, the more you adapt to it, the more that you get used to it. And the only way to stop that adaptation is to reduce the amount of exposure, okay? Now, a lot of guys worry because they think the worst case scenario. What if I take a cold shower and I'm going to die? And again, replace it with something else. What if I go on the zip line and the zip line breaks and I die? If you die, even if the worst possible case scenario, you can't get any worse than that. The worst possible case scenario happens, you die, you're not on this earth anymore, you can't experience this world anymore, you are dead, that's it, game over. Even if that happens, guess what? You're not going to know about it anyway. You're dead. You're not going to be sitting there thinking, oh, I'm dead. Oh, this is horrible. I wish I didn't do... You're dead, mate. It's over. Game over. Bam, lights out. So even if the worst case scenario happens, you are dead, you're not going to know any different anyway. But most likely that's not going to happen, and you're going to adapt to it. So stop being so scared of situations in life. Stop being overthinking, because even if the worst case scenario happens, which it probably won't anyway, it's very rare that your mind is actually correct when it makes up these stupid scenarios in its brain. It's always doing that to keep you comfortable. Your mind will make up these worst case scenarios all the time to keep you in your comfort zone, because it's trying to keep you alive. That's all that it cares about, is self-preservation, keeping you alive. So it's gonna naturally just imagine, if you do this, because it's quite uncomfortable, it's quite scary, if you go down this zip line, you will die. And it's going to tell you that to keep you away from the zip line, because it doesn't know what's going to happen. Again, life's unpredictable, it's unknown. So naturally, what it does know, however, what your stupid caveman brain does understand is, oh, whatever we're doing right now has kept me alive, so let's just stay in the comfort zone, because I know for a fact that we survive in this comfort zone, so let's just keep staying here, because that's my only goal, is self-preservation. But you know, in order to grow, in order to have a bit of fun, and enjoy life and push your boundaries a little bit more and grow as a man, you've got to push yourself into discomfort, into the unknown, into fear. That's character development. Your brain doesn't care about character development, but you do. Okay? So you got to understand that. So when you do embrace these moments of discomfort, and you think, oh, what if this? And you start overthinking it, and you get anxious and you get scared. What if I lose my arm and it falls off? You're going to adapt. It's literally proven that your prediction of how you will feel when a negative situation happens is always wrong. There was a study done on HIV, I guess what would say, convicted, HIV positive patients, okay? And what they thought they would feel when they got tested and it came up positive, and they've got HIV, they have to live with this fucking disease, whatever, for the rest of their life. They predicted that would feel a 10 out of 10 negative emotion flow, negative state of emotion, 10 out of 10, the worst it could possibly be. And they got it, and it was only like a 4. They got the test results back. In reality, oh, it's positive. And they only responded to a 4 out of 10. Because guess what? It's never as bad as you predict it to be in your brain. And it's never as bad as you predict it to be in your brain because of what I just said before. Your brain's always going to try and keep you away from discomfort. It doesn't want to find out the results. So stay away from it, because it's too scary, it's too uncomfortable. We don't know if we're going to survive there. It's out of the comfort zone. So you have to keep this in mind. But when you do, if, for whatever reason, if you do get presented with the worst case scenario, and something bad happens, and you lose a leg or something, let's just say, God forbid, you have to get your leg amputated, whatever. It's always been a nightmare of mine. That's always been a worst fear of mine, to get my fucking leg amputated or a limb amputated. I don't know why, but it scares the shit out of me. But even, I have to remind myself of that. Even if that happened to me, the worst case scenario in my brain, oh, I have to get my leg amputated, I have to walk around with fucking one leg or whatever, in a wheelchair or whatever, on crutches. Even if that happened to me, I would adapt to it, wouldn't I? Because you only have 2 options. Again, simplicity is key. What's the other choice? I either adapt to it and I live my life because I have no other choice, my leg's gone. Or number 2, I die. I kill myself, or I actually die from the situation itself. They're the only 2 options that are going to happen to you. And like I said before, your mind and body literally adapts to it. It's a survival mechanism. It has to adapt. It has to just, your mind just understands, whatever we're going through right now is not going to stop. So we have to adapt. We're forced to adapt in order to keep ourselves alive. We're forced to get stronger. We're forced to, increase the blood pressure, increases heart rate, or whatever it is to keep us alive. It does that on purpose. It's a survival mechanism. So you will adapt to, no matter what situation you are in, you will adapt. And if you don't adapt, if the adaptation scale is too high for your physical body to actually adapt to, then you die. And then guess what? You don't know anything about it anyway. So you're dead. When you understand it like this and you have this mindset, you look at the world like that, like, bro, I understand that I can literally adapt to anything. Whatever happens to me in this world, I'm going to adapt to it. And if I don't adapt, I'm dead. And then I won't know any different anyway. So what the fuck am I worried about? Do you know what I mean? It might be a bit uncomfortable for a little bit adapting to the situation. Oh, I've lost my leg and now I have to get used to having one leg. Yeah, it's going to be a bit uncomfortable. You're not going to die. Your life's not over. You will adapt to it and you'll crack on. And if you do die, then guess what? You don't know anything about it anyway. It's a very simplistic but positive way of looking at the world, and it really is scientifically proven, that hedonic adaptation thing. You can type it in. Your body and mind literally adapt, to anything. Very, very powerful. And when I understood this, it's like, yeah, why the fuck am I worrying? What the fuck have I got to worry about? I know for a fact I'm going to adapt to anything, and I've proven it to myself in little things like, cold showers. I take cold showers now, and I don't even take hot showers anymore. Cold shower is the only shower I take. I sit there in there for like half an hour to an hour, just fucking singing along and way too long, bro. My mum gets pissed off at me, like, get out the shower, you're in there too long. But it's just because, you know, you can adapt to anything. So keep that in mind. Stop overthinking, stop worrying, and stop predicting the worst case scenario for yourself, because you don't know. You don't know it. It's not happened yet. So why you may as well just convince yourself that the best case scenario is going to happen. You may as well convince yourself that it's going to be a positive outcome, because you don't know any different anyway. So just tell yourself, yeah, it's going to be positive. What if I get the girl's number? What if it all works out well? What if I survive and actually really enjoy the zipline experience, for whatever, you know, whatever example you can think of, just replace the what if with a positive, and understand that even if, in a hypothetical universe, even if the worst case scenario does happen and I die, or, you know, something similar happens, I lose my leg, or I get rejected and everyone laughs at me, I'll adapt to it. It's not game over. And if it is game over, then I won't know any different anyway. I'm dead. So what the fuck are you worried about? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's this powerful mindset. Keep that in mind. Coaching's down below if you want to learn more from me. Get some daylight, bit of social connection, presence, gratitude. You know the drill. Kindness, be kind to people, tip weight. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Coaching's down below. Bow.